The 1911 Colt pistol is top among the weapons with the lowest rejection rate on the market. It is not only appreciated by law enforcement. The civilian population and criminal elitist groups also recognize their tremendous representation. Elegant, beautiful, efficient, and effective, that is, info-ballistic.
The Colt Model 1911 is a semi-automatic pistol of American origin, operated by short recoil, which was designed by John Moses Browning in 1911, and manufactured by the Colt's Manufacturing Company in that same year. The 1911 model has its origins in a moment of military crisis, in which the North American troops in the Philippine-American War of 1899–1902 found themselves poorly equipped, due to the fact that their standard .38 caliber weapon, at that time, presented flaws. In said conflict, due to the hostility of the jungle environment and its relatively low stopping power, which had caused the Army to have to reload the revolvers. Based on this conflict, an investigative commission called the Thompson Commission was held, which concluded that the pistol with the best stopping power would be a .45 caliber. After this, the U.S. government held a contest for the pistol that met the requirements proposed by the state, and the Colt Company was the one who took said crown, who under the design proposed by John Moses Browning, gave life to what is today the 1911. The .45 caliber Colt 1911 was finally officially adopted by the U.S. Army in March 1911. The product incorporated a single-action hammer system and two safeties, the one on the grip that deactivates when the gun is fired. The shooter takes the weapon in his hand in the form of a pre-shot, and the classic safety that goes on the frame, positioned to be deactivated with the shooter's thumb, possessing a single row magazine, with a capacity of 7.45 ACP cartridges. After the First World War, its performance allowed adjusting small changes in favor of its mechanism, which ended up in what is the Colt 1911A1, which is the one that has been manufactured since 1926 until now. The U.S. Army used it until 1985, when it was replaced by the Beretta 92 FS, which at that time better met NATO requirements, but for civilian use it is still a very, very widely used pistol. The Colt 1911 pistol is part of the pistols with the most diversity of calibers, just like the Glock pistols. Being this originally manufactured in its .45 ACP cartridge, 40 Smith & Wesson caliber, 10mm, 9mm, and the favorite by the drug traffickers in Mexico, the .38 Super, which we will talk about later. Among civilian models, Colt from 1970 to 1983 introduced the government Mk4 Series 70, which introduces a higher precision collet-style barrel bushing, 1970–1988. Between 1983 and 1988, the Colt government Mk4 Series 80, which incorporates an anti-shock safety device that prevents it from rolling in the event of an accidental fall. From 1991 to 2001, the Colt M1991A1, Old Rollmark Model ORM, and in 2001 the Colt M1991A1, New Rollmark Model NRM, were produced as inexpensive replacements for the Mk1 Series 480. The 1911 set aside for the United States of America, also produced under license by two nations, which are Norway, with its so-called 1914 version, and Argentina, with its version designated as 1927. And without lengthening the story any further, we finally got to the point where you entered this video, drug culture and the 1911 Colt pistol. This pistol has become the favorite of important figures on the streets of Mexico, and it is that, with the advent of the internet, there has been a revolution in social networks, made up of public pages and private profiles, of people with a certain importance and power in the underworld, which have bombarded in recent years their ostentatious and luxurious Colt pistols from 1911, full of gold baths and plating, and inlaid with diamonds of the best quality. Likewise, engravings and similar techniques in their frames, from illustrations of their owners' faces, to engravings of very famous brands like Gucci or Louis Vuitton. The 1911, in short, is the drug dealer's favorite pistol, and I know you're wondering, what's so special about the 1911, and well, for that you have to go back in the history of gun manufacturing in Mexico, And it all goes back to the decade of the 1930s in Mexico, when the Mexican engineer Alejandro Obregón designed the so-called Obregón pistol, which is a .45 caliber semi-automatic, designed with an end similar to the American 1911, however, with slight differences in the mechanism. This pistol in Mexico was a novelty, but it was not a success in sales, nor was it approved by its army, unlike the 1911 in the United States. It kept bombarded with a lot of criticism, and was only appreciated by gun buffs. But somehow, this added to the fact that Mexicans were very attracted to this rather beautiful design, and tremendous firepower of both weapons. That is when the Colt began to gain fame in Mexico, which was a revolutionary and total wonder pistol at the time, which in time was established as part of what Mexican culture is. The magic begins when the 1911 collides with the modernization of the narco, and the new generations begin to adopt the luxuries as part of their own subculture, plus the facility for connections to customize the 1911 in the United States of America. This became a total heyday in social networks, displaying a tremendous contraption of such elegance, plus tremendous firepower. The 1911 with custom service became the favorite trophy of drug traffickers and common criminals in Mexico and various parts of Latin America. Dozens of these pistols have been seized, with the most refined finish you could imagine, and with the best of precious stones. But not everything has been rosy for these bandits. These exhibitions on social networks caused and continue to cause so many impressions that many criminal leaders have fallen through there, both by US authorities and by local authorities. The 1911, despite being the trophy of the bandits, can also become their most impoverished downfall. Are you with God, or are you with the devil? This was it, Info Ballistic.